Good Erev Shabbos. We find ourselves just a few days before Shavuos, and tomorrow we read study the sixth chapter of Pirkei Avos, and it's also known as Perek Kinyan Torah, acquiring methods to acquire the Torah. Ways to acquire the Torah doesn't just mean ways to acquire just the information, rather to internalize the core Jewish values, that were given to us by God in Mount Sinai. So there are 48 ways listed, Memches Dvarim Torah Nikdis Behem. And one of the ways that the Torah is acquired, as it says in Pirkei Avos, is Noseh Ba'olam Chavero, somebody that carries a burden with his friend. So the basic understanding is, if somebody has a friend that is carrying a heavy burden and you're not carrying that burden, go and choose to assist him and carrying that burden. You can easily just choose to go the other way and not assist him, but go choose and assist him. Now one can ask, sounds like a nice thing to do, but what does that have to do with acquiring the Torah? The truth of the matter is that the Torah is not just a bunch of data, it's a bunch of information. It's God's mission to the Jewish people. And we have to be worthy of receiving it. We have to be worthy of processing it. We have to be worthy of internalizing it. And in order for us to be worthy of it, we have to be refined people. And the Mishnah is teaching us there are various methods of how to be refined. And this is one of the methods of being refined. Noseh ba'olam chavero, carrying the burden with somebody else, even though you don't necessarily have to, but you're choosing to. The way we'd say this in today's language would be to be empathetic. To be empathetic to somebody's situation, and the understanding is that that person's problem becomes your problem. And I say this, today, of course, as we say this in Erev Shabbos, Parshas Bamidbar, May 14th, 2021, with the dire situation in Israel with last few days. There have been just about 2,000 rockets that have rained down on the Israeli population from terrorist organizations in Gaza. And we're just going about our daily lives here. And obviously we're concerned, but I think we have to be more than just concerned. We have to be noseh ba'olam chavero, as the Mishnah tells us. Noseh ba'olam chavero means carry the burden as if it's our problem as well. I mean, if think about if we had to interrupt our sleep at 2 a.m. because there was a siren going off and we had to wake up our babies and take them into a bomb shelter. Let's think about that. I mean, it's a whole different life. We don't necessarily think about it in those terms, but noseh ba'olam chavero, when you think about it in those terms, your davening becomes different davening, and your advocacy becomes different advocacy, and your conversations become more different. It's noseh ba'olam chavero. It's not just a nice thing to do, as the Mishnah teaches us. It's a way to acquire the Torah. So as we are here in the threshold of Kabbalah Torah, you have to remember that we're all one people, and the haters of Israel don't distinguish between Jews. They hate all of us, and we should be cognizant of that and use this as a time of reflection for unity, and a time to reflect how we can help each other out and empathize with someone else's pain. And in that merit, may the guardian of Israel continue to watch over his people in his land. Hinei lo yanam v'lo yishan shomer Yisrael. May the garden of Israel never slumbers nor sleep continue to watch over his people. I wish you all a good Erev Shabbos and a meaningful and uplifting Shavuos.